Yo, can you guys hear me? Just let me know quick. Okay, that's good. Let's start with the stream. Hopin's doing good. Hopin's having a good time, especially with the ETH running and everything running along with that. Um, Insane rally on ETH going on. We are at this yearly open resistance, so something to be looking at. I do think we eventually break out of this yearly open level, but probably we chop for a while before we see continuation. Plus, things do seem heated because ETH has been on a rally since morning. So seems like a bit of cool off here around yearly open, and then it goes for next leg up. The initial thoughts on the market is that this 120k is the level to be flipping above. If not, I could still see a possibility where we take out these lows into this daily imbalance that's sitting below to form like a double bottom, but just wick into daily imbalance, sweep the lows from Tuesday and trend back up. If not, and we are able to just reclaim a 120k from here, then it's game on. We probably be making new all-time highs on Bitcoin once again. But not too much focused on the Bitcoin chart, to be honest. I think the money is to be made elsewhere. We have been printing good by focusing not much on BTC for past few days and focusing on the things that's been running. Pepe was our latest position. It's up 4% kind of from our entry. I still have my TPs higher for this play because ever since we have gotten this daily flip, the least I am targeting eventually is this 33% move into 17172. So first TP, major TP would be around this area. Once we tap this, the remaining would be around 172, 173. Also, the way Bonk has been running, I think we start to see some rotation from Bonk into rest of the memes, which include VIF. We have a VIF spot pack from lows running. It's up 26%. First area, major area of resistance approaching. But if we flip here, VIF could be flying as well. Pepe looks really good. Bonk, I think we have spent good time in the past streams talking about how Bonk to pump fund would be a nice pair trade. Even we even talked about this in the last stream that you could pretty much just be short pump and be long bonk and have a delta neutral trade where you don't even need to care about the direction of the market and just make money on bonk outperforming pump. I still think that's going to happen. I don't think pump is something that comes out as a winner out of bonk versus pump. And bonk would probably be the first CB listing Sol coin that we have that runs into new all-time highs. I'm looking for a new entry. We got multiple entries around this breakout. We got a good 30-40% move. Now for new entries, what I'm looking for is that if in coming days it gives us a clean retest of the 34 area, that's where we start scaling in again and we target new all-time highs on it. So Bonk really bullish. Ave, another coin we are still in, has been lagging a little compared to the ETH run today. Is currently 7% up, but eventually I think it's a good ETH coin that that would eventually run decent with ETH strength. What else to have? SPX, we got a good trade today. This is in the SPX chart I had. We can chart it again quick, but really good looking chart. Broke out. It's also like 9-10% from our entry. I think as long as these highs break hold, we should be getting a SPX price discovery rally probably into $2 and then eventually 2.5. If we do retest something like this, I'm looking to add back and re-enter our position. But for now, it looks decent, and I think after a bit of cool off, we can start rallying again. So the main focus continues being on memes and anything that's related to ETH. We saw a bit of catch up in Sol as well. We have talked about this 160 flip for a very long time, and it was a very easy execution similar to that on ETH. We talked about how ever since we have flipped this mid range, the first target you should be having on Sol is this yearly open, and pretty much what's playing out still would be the same. If you want some Sol exposure, bid that on pullbacks and eventually target 190. But I do think ETH would be outperforming and would continue to outperform Sol short term, so not much interested in Sol, to be honest. I think ETH is the clear winner right now, and that's what you would continue, sticking to. A beautiful looking high time frame setup that we have got the past days. Swing that I have not taken anything out yet. My first TP remains the same at the sweep of highs into 3450, 3500. That's my first TP area. That's where I'll sell 30% of my swing and remaining $4,000. Have been posting this with really high conviction. It's actually one of the biggest sizes I have taken on a trade this year. One of the cleanest macro setups I've come across this cycle, and not something to be faded, to be honest. So yeah, 3,500 first TP, 4,000 eventually. And then the argument comes that if you have tapped 4,000 multiple times in the past, now maybe this is where we actually break into all-time highs, right? But that's discussion for some time later. For now, 4,000 remains the target. And to increase my ETH related exposure, I bought ENS today. Looks really good with this weekly flip. As long as holds above, we can target a good 40-50% rally minimum on it. And also to increase ETH exposure, I'm also looking at this ENA play, but do need this 3750 flip on higher time frames, and we can start buying some ENA. Similar for the ETH play, we took LD on our challenge. Has been lagging a lot today, but looking decent. I think eventually it could catch up, maybe towards Asia session. So the trend has been that the Bejas and Bitcoin move good towards throughout the US session, and then towards like post stocks close and daily close is where you start to see alts running good, lower caps and mid caps. So that's what I think right now, and that's the reason I'm still holding most of my plays. SPX I have taken partial profits. Pepe I have not taken any profits. There are a few other plays also running with stops break even, but yeah, that's pretty much it. What I wanted to talk about initially. Now, as usual, I'd love to know from you people how your trading has been. What do you think about the market? How you position currently? Anything in general you want to be talking about, right? I do know these conditions could be overwhelming, but I've posted this few multiple times in past days that these are not the conditions to be overcomplicating. Multi-month range breakouts on BTC and majors running and flipping major areas is what happens once or twice a year max, right? And you get a window of few days or a week or two where you can literally keep on printing free money by longing every single flip, reclaim, longing every pullback you get, and these are very few opportunities you get once or twice a year at max. So I've been trying my best to capitalize on it, to make people capitalize on it, and I still think it would extend for a few days at least. Now I don't want questions on how many days you think. I don't have a crystal ball, but I think for a few days or a week or two, the fun still continues, and we keep on not complicating things and keep on longing every good setup we find, right? And yeah, what's your plan for the Tau trade? We'll talk about. I'll take an also quest soon, but initially I wanted to have some market discussions. You've been on fire. Just a huge thank you. You're welcome. As I said, I will take an also quest in a while. Initially, I like to have some good market discussions, man. That's the most vital thing. If you have no idea what part of the market we are in and how do we how to look at things, then none of your alts matter in the end, because your execution would still be shit, right? I've seen people having strong bullish conviction a few weeks back, but now they are playing super complicated and super safe in these conditions, looking for pullbacks, not knowing when to TP, when to let run plays. And no matter what sort of conviction you have, if you don't have a good read on what kind of market we are in, you'd probably not be making much money. Do you think ETH goes back to our stops, or we are out of the words again? I don't have a magic ball, man. The only thing is that if it goes back to our entry, I'm not moving my stops, which means that play is always valid higher time frame as long as we are above 2870. BTC current update on lower time frame. Not to focus on BTC, to be honest. BTC isn't something where the money is to be made, but it is at resistance. This 4-hour supply plus 20k, your 120k being your psychological area. If we get some weakness below, I'll target a move back into Tuesday lows. Not trying a short, to be honest. I think money is to be made elsewhere. Shorting isn't too worth it right now. You were explaining how to catch momentum by using spaghetti charts at M1 time frame. At what time frame should we check OI, CVD, etc.? 5 minutes. On Coinalyze, 5 minutes is the standard time frame you should usually be sticking to. On spot SPX 6900, if you're not in, then you can see if you're lucky to catch a retest into 1.71 down till 1.6. So this is a buy area if you're really lucky to get. And yeah. Yeah, I think we can see a bit of cool off on majors here. They have been on a hot rally since evening. Plus, ETH also tapped yearly open. Yearly open is a really pivot area on most of the majors. You can see that a lot of time, including Bitcoin, Sol, SUI, a few days back. Whenever they tap this yearly open area, they tend to struggle for a while. So expect some chop and range and Sol, ETH here, lower time frame before it eventually carries back into 3500 plus. Ave back to. We'll talk about Ave soon. As I said, I'll take an alt square soon. 310 is probably. I'll move my stops back to original probably if it gives a pullback. To be honest, I still like the high time frame chart. Sound is there when I first joined. There's no sound. I closed Discord in how soon the recording. Hopefully that will work. Try joining in from your browser. The app sometime bugs. Like open your browser on your laptop or on your system and log in from there. Yeah, so this was the actual SPX chart I had before I called out. Yeah, I think if you get this pullback back, I'll probably be adding back to my SPX position. Let's see how the flow on most of the majors look like. Let's first start with fundings. How the fundings on top 10 market cap look like. Okay, so BTC, ETH, and BNB, Sol. These are pretty much close to neutral. Sol having 0.02, which isn't that much. Then you have XRP having a neutral funding to Cardano, Hype, XLM, SUI, Link, HBAR. So yeah, like there is neutral funding across the board, which is still pretty healthy to be honest. Now, in terms of open interest, XRP has added 12% over the past 24 hours. ETH has added 9%. Sol has added 13%. Dodge has added 15%. Wow. HBAR 12%. I still don't think there's too much to be worried about here. Unless like fundings start climbing up with a lot of margin compared to price action. So far we are good. Memes for the biggest upside now. Bonk, you think on a reset to bed or SPX? They both, I think Bonk and SPX are the leading memes for now, and narratives that you should continue bidding on every pullback. I've given multiple calls on each of them for people to position, and I still think they would continue running in coming days as long as alts market remain risk on. Do you think ETH pumping confirmed a bullish summer instead of the usual boring summer? Man, ever since ETH closed 2870 above 2870, it has confirmed to me a ETH summer, right? That's the reason I swing longed it. So majors are up 20-30% over past days. Alts are running 50-60% in a week. You still think it's a boring summer? Hmm. You mentioned rotation to WIF. Can you explain how you see it happening? How I see it happening? Like Bonk bringing in more money into other memes. That's what I mean. And what's a good entry? I don't think you should be buying here, to be honest. I'm personally in from lower, but I've said in the start it's approaching a major daily res. The next setup I can see on WIF, and I'll probably mention my corner so you can keep an eye. But you want 4 hour, 8 hour acceptance above 1.2, and that's where your entry on WIF should come. So wait for this flip. Once it does, you buy on spot with a 10-15% invalidation and look to ride into 1.2. I think 1.2 is pretty achievable on WIF once Bonk cools off for a while. But Bonk should still be your major exposure, man. Been saying that for a long while. And I still think this would be my first pick of the Sol memes this cycle, remaining part of the cycle. Hmm. I have TP'd all of my bonk exposure. I had like 2, 3 separate plays running. I TP'd them fully when we got that 34, 3440 retest. So now it's trading higher than where I TP'd. Now I'm looking to see if we could get a pullback back into this area and we'll start scaling back. But let's say if you're still in bonk, I wouldn't TP here, to be honest, ever since it has flipped this area. I think eventually it it at least runs into for 44 and then eventually into 50 and all-time highs. This launchpad narrative will rotate into something else. I see it as a trade more than midterm hold. So all-time high is a good benchmark. This launchpad narrative will rotate into no. I know, man. Like, I agree that this launchpad hype is something that gained a lot of traction past few days for a week or two. But also, we saw what happened with pump fund volumes, and those volumes stayed there for a long time, right? I think pump fund was pulling out 500 billion dollar mark of volumes for multiple months before the on chain season on Sol die down and stuff. So what if the volumes on Bonk continue on Bonk Fund? Because I'm not exactly familiar with the tokenomics of this thing, but I do think like some of it goes back into buying Bonk or Sol or something. I like if the higher the volumes that Bonk Fund generates, I think higher eventually Bonk would be trading. But I do agree that all time high is always a good area where you should be booking profits. But I also think it would be one of the like last year's Sol memes that would be getting another price discovery run this coming few months. Pump and Ray, I think those are pretty dead narratives to be honest. Continue focusing on Bonk. give me any good coin or a narrative that I'm really missing right now. Like I'd look at the chart and I'd be like, okay, I want to buy this. Not any dead coin. I still feel like I'm missing something. Dino coins is something I do think I'm missing a little because XRP is finally confirming this range highs break. So like if XRP gives an all-time high rally, probably some of the Dino coins catch up good. So one basket I am not exposed to. I am not saying pump is dead, right? Do not always take, analysis to extremes. Uh, I am saying that bonk would be outperforming pump by a big margin, right? Which has been happening, right? Bonk is up like I think 60% plus since pump listed, while pump is doing what? It's just shopping around at the prices it was listed, right? So bonk has already outperformed pump by 60%. Yeah, we can have a look on RWA. That's a good mention because I haven't charted any RWA coin for the past days. Ondo is a good start to have. Not a bad looking flip we have on Ondo here, to be honest. Yeah. Let's first remove the drawings. I'm not too sure how relevant the RWA narrative is now. I personally think that a lot of mindshare from the RWA narrative would be taken by the DeFi's this summer, to be honest, and that's why I'm bullish on AVE and ENA and stuff. But Ondo could still do decent, to be honest. Not a bad looking chart, I'd say. Like if I had to get try exposure, I'd start scaling in gradually from here. I have like a 15% manual invalidation and look to target like 1.5 on this coin. Eventually, when you get like really risk on alts environment, you'd see everything pumping, right? So I can't be like, don't buy this or stuff, because I do think eventually a lot of these coins would be playing catch up. But I'm not too sure on the narrative how relevant it is for now. But not bad looking chart, to be honest. You can start scaling in from here, eventually target 1.5, I believe. Like leave some room to add, and I think you do good. DeFi and memes are doing the heavy work right now. People who have been following my streams for like 2 months now, that's what I have been saying constantly ever since like we flipped 106, like 3-4 weeks back. That starts scaling into it. DeFi's and memes. These will be the two narratives running hot. FET ignore AI coins, man. Like I said, when alts rotation come, there could be a lot of dead coins that run a good 30-40% before they start dying again. But I don't see how AI is relevant for now in crypto markets. Plume? Not too sure on the narrative and what this does, but I'll be interested if it like breaks out here with some good volume and strength. So if it starts like breaking above 112, you can chase it for a breakout run. But not that tempting of a chart it looks, to be honest. Fartcoin, let's first look at Fartcoin. I think Aztecs gave a call on Fartcoin right now, right? Hmm. I didn't see a clear setup here, to be honest. Like, yeah, I'm more focused on ETH memes right now, but good buyback on daily probably confirms this daily demand. But I'll be more sure when this daily closes. But I'm also not liking how you have these weird looking lows on these daily bottoms, right? So I'll see if we could catch like a sweep of these lows in coming days to be longing, but nah, probably runs to be honest, but not a chart I have a good read on right now. My Fartcoin mindshare losing steam to newer ones. I agree. I agree. Like the only area where I could be interested in start chasing. The one thing I love about memes is that you get the best probable play on them when you're actually chasing them higher on strength and breakouts, right? Like for example, if where's the bong chart right now, right? If you're trying to trade bong throughout this chop over the past few months, you wouldn't have gotten much, but like once you started seeing such strength, it becomes one of the most easiest trades where you can actually size up a lot, right? You cannot size a lot when things are just chopping around, but when they start running hot and they have good narratives behind them and they are looking really good for a breakout, even though you would end up having a higher entry than if you just be early, but in such entries you can size up way more than when you try to be early. So instead of trying to be early on Fartcoin, I'll either see if we can catch a pullback. If not, then this is what I am looking at. You have this daily supply. You can see we have gotten multiple rejections out of this area. If Fartcoin ends up breaking above, which is like 1.45, I'll start chasing this for a good rally, right? Until then, I'll see if we can get like a sweep of these lows and then start scaling in, right? Hope that makes sense. At what price? Just look at the chart I am showing you, man. These lows, pretty sure you can find it on your chart too. The last daily lows we have. So you'd consider cutting it if it can't break out 1.45 in the next leg. Speaking of altcoin, I don't have a altcoin exposure, right? I'm saying I'll enter if it breaks out. Um, if it doesn't, then I'm not trading it for now, unless the lows get swept. Pengu? Okay. Not going to lie, this looks topped out to me. Like not. Hmm. Like a good part of the reason I was early days bullish in Pengu was this fat imbalances on the left going into the CTF narrative on Pengu. Like once we talked about that, it starts closing above. That's a good trade to take. Now that a lot of these imbalances have been filled, and we are around previous swing highs, and this 4-hour structure on the top looks weird to me, to be honest. Like probably it just keeps on chopping here for a while. I think like Pengu does something. It did trading around these prices, right? So it just kept on chopping around for a very long time, almost like 2 to 3 weeks before it went on to any other leg up, right? And that's what I think. Plus, the RSI is still at high areas while the price is consolidating. So, what I personally think is maybe a few more sweeps at the highs, but do something like this, like it did last time. The 4-hour RSI resets back into like this 40 area, and that's where you can long again for next leg up. I do think eventually it could make all-time highs. It's a strong runner, not something you can fade, but I also think that you need it to cool off for a while, right? So let it consolidate like it did a few weeks back. let the RSI reset into like 40 area, and that's where you start positioning for another leg up. Um, Much better RR in Pepe with Popcat other than Pengu, Bong, Fart, etc. In this situation, I could slightly agree with you, but usually don't have this kind of thinking in such conditions because your thinking is pretty much saying that don't go after the strong runners. Instead, look for things that are lagging and are really weak, right? And this is a really wrong mentality to have because let's say, for example, few days like right now, I could partially agree because this is what I am doing. Uh, Excluding Bonk, I still think Bonk could go much higher. So positioning in Bonk should be a top priority. But other than that, yeah, I do agree that focusing on meme, Pepe, and some of the other memes would be a better play right now. But with your mentality, let's say that Bonk was up, like you were trading last week, you saw Bonk being up 100% from the lows, running high, running hot and strong. And then you were like, no, Bonk is already too much up. Let's scale into maybe Whiff, right? Because Whiff is still at lows while Bonk is 80% up and Bonk risk to return and Bonk isn't much compared to Whiff. But what happened, right? Bonk is another 80% up while Whiff is what? Just 20% up, right? So runners would continue being runners. Do not fade them. Do not be like, the risk to return on them isn't much. So I'll start buying the dead stuff and the lagging stuff. Um, Focus on runners, focus on stronger narratives, and yeah, that's how you win in these situations. To be honest, Nairo, which Nairo? We have two Nairos, right? The ETH one and the CTO one. And I'm really bullish Pepe right now. Have a lot of confidences that it like similar confidences I had when we were longing Bonk over here for a move into 34. I think Pepe is a very similar setup where we get like a good 30-40% rally to catch on it. Nairo CTO. Okay. I'll set some alerts on the RSI on this coin. I think once RSI resets on ping you back to like 42, you can start to look for triggers to enter. Let me name it as well. Okay, someone asked about Nairo CTO. On Bybit, it's 1000 Nairo, right? Yeah. Hmm. Doesn't look bad with the flip, I'd say. Yeah, looks decent. One thing I do is sorry. Um, One thing I would do is just wait for this 4 hour close first. I'd say, like, yeah. Okay, so a good play I could give you is this is the last 4 hour supply you had above this daily area. Let me do it with another color so it's not mixing it up. Right. So this is the last 4 hour supply that it's retesting. If it flips above, like close 4 hour above 5650, you can start scaling in low leverage position. Right. You need the supply to be flipped. Once it does, I think these lows get taken out and you get like a good 20% rally on Nairo CTO. So not a bad looking coin. Someone asked, sorry, just joined now. Are you seeing any retracement on ETH overall market around ETH 3550 after overextension? Um, what do you mean? Like you want to be shorting 3550 or what? I do have 35 area on my chart, and that's where I want to be taking out some like 30-40% out of my ETH swing. Now what exactly are you asking? I didn't get that. Griffin? Let me see. What's Hype been doing? What happened to Hype? Why is it like doing nothing? Still looks not too bad. Giga? Did it run? I was mentioning it this coin to I think Impulse and Pat in the evening stream. Yeah, not too much, but yeah, ran good like a 4-5%. Is it breaking above that 3-day area? Nah, the one thing I still want to wait on Giga is this. Like look at this 3-day. Let me change the colors. You can see how this is the major 3-day area that it needs to break above. If it does, like especially if it breaks above when you haven't gotten a good SPX price discovery run yet, right? So if SPX begins to run into price discovery and where's the Giga chart, and Giga gives you this break, then probably you can take it as a beta to SPX, right? Because these both are Murad coins, and in the past it has moved good with SPX. So yeah, set some alerts if it starts breaking above this 3-day area, along with SPX running into price discovery, then that's a good long to take. I was there. I'm up 500%. What did you do? Like long it on 100x? Uh, I still like this chart a lot. Remember, we were longing this few days back. We got a good swing, like a 20% move on it. And I still like how it's holding above this area with RSI street sitting back to the 50 area. So not bad. Consolidating above these range highs. If I wanted a play to enter on Griffin, I'd start scaling in from here. Um, have manual invalidation below 4640 because one scenario, worst case scenario I could see on this is it has some untaken lows below, right? So maybe it goes for the sweep and just V-shape recovery back into highs. So have manual invalidation below 4640. You can probably buy on spot, like it's a 15% stop. And I think you can eventually target 7593. That's the target I have on Griffin. So this is the setup. You can scale in like 60% here, leave 30%, 40% in case we go for sweep of lows and target this rally on it. Man, why on earth for trading you just quit for me, man? I'll have to reload all the charts. No, not this. Selection. What do you think of Floki? Wow, super strong. This looks good. This actually looks really good. Wow. What's going on with this coin? I think they launched a game or something on their chain, right? Um, I'll wait for this daily close, but if this daily close ends up closing above the last daily supply, so like if it closes above 120 on this 1,000 chart, um, it's a really good looking higher time frame reclaim. Like this has been a big macro range lows on Floki for this entire cycle. Then we lost these range lows, did a bearish retest once, sold back down. Now we are getting the second attempt of the reclaim, right? So if it closes strong daily above, you can probably start positioning for continuation of this rally. Something on my list I'll focus on coming days if it continues running. Have some alerts set. BTC continues to struggle at 120k. Want to get out of OXO? Where should I TP? Wow, why is it lagging too much? Don't have much to say about this chart unless it reclaims above 1-1. These were your previous range lows. It has done like 3-4 failed attempts of reclaiming above. If it does reclaim above, then you can be, bullish higher time frame on this chart, but not something I'm too interested in. Dret. Interesting. Not too interested on this coin too, unless it gives this break. I'll set some alerts. So, as I said on most of these memes, you have much better probability plays once you long or buy them on breakouts, right? Because that's where you'll get instant money instead of getting stuck your capital in things that aren't moving much, right? So keep on playing this game of musical chairs where you keep on longing the strong runners on the day, then you keep on longing the strong runners of the next day, right? So for Floki, if it starts breaking above this area, that's your that's your long trigger buy trigger. So anything above 8200, I have set alerts. That's where I look for a buy. Until then, not much interested. That's Brett, not Floki. Orfix, I have answered on Floki. I'm late, bro. What about Sol? We have talked about Sol in the start of the stream. Pretty much the same chart we have talking on every single stream. This is your big macro range to be playing. As long as we are above 160 area, which is your mid range, you can target nearly open 190. Would you be entering here? That's your choice. Because if you are entering here, your invalidation needs to be below 155, and targeting 190 makes it like a 1 hour setup. If you are comfortable taking that, leaving some room to add, you can. If not, and you want to be playing safe, then look for a pullback back towards 160, 165. That's all I can say. But eventually, I think Sol runs into 190 minimum. Pepe update. Pepe, I am in, so don't know how to update on that. Still in, is in profits. ENA waiting on this flip above 37.50. So if it starts closing strong above 37.50, we'll buy. My question was around 35.50 for ETH. Will there be strong pullback around 2800 or below? How you see that? 3500 back into 2800? I doubt that, to be honest. And whenever I'm talking about pullbacks, I'm talking about like bleeds down, right? You can always get some quick wicks in these conditions. If you are new to these bullish conditions, which I still think we are far away, the market doesn't at all feel like over leveraged or too much longs piling in or stuff. But eventually, you would see such conditions where funding start turning extremely high. Um, the open interest start piling up a lot. Price action gets weaker. Those conditions generate some flash wicks. In that scenario, is the only one I could see 2800, right? Apart from that, I think you can, like, once we tap around 35, 36 area, you get a bit of cool off and then a rally back up, right? uh, why sound keeps stopping? To be honest, no idea. Did you try joining in from your browser? Like, from, I think Google Chrome works the best for streams. Bitcoin dominance update, bro. I think for like, you will get time to time Bitcoin dominance reversals, but coming few weeks you can expect majors and alts to perform good. That's what you should be focused on. Views on render. I think AI isn't a narrative that you should be too much focused on. The only coin related to AI that I could be interested in is Tau. We got a good move few days back. It's up 25% from my entry. The next entry I could think on Tau is either a pullback from here, like a small pullback into 380 to start scaling in, or a 485 flip. The two scenarios where you should be buying Tau. Tau we have talked about. INJ, is INJ still relevant? I don't think so. These are like the wizard coins, no? I remember shilling him INJ, FAT, Wu back in the days. I don't think this is really a good buy, because the issue with L1 narratives that end up losing traction is it's really hard for them to recover from, right? We have seen how things went for, let's say, AVAX or dot ecosystem or the atom ecosystem and stuff like that. I put ING in the same category because we now have SUI, we have ETH, Sol. These chains have been the leading ones past months, and I think that would stay the same for now. Even hype taking a lot of traction, so can't see where INJ could make its place, to be honest. Ondo, we have talked about SUI. I can have a look. SUI, I'm still waiting a little. I think it could rally good, but the only trouble area I could see on SUI is this yearly open, right? Once it flips above, I think it would be a really nice play. Just waiting for this. Any good break above yearly open on SUI, it starts running hot. So set some alerts above and you do good. Yeah, so all you have to do is wait for this yearly open break. Once it does, I think you can start scaling in for a good all-time high rally. What do you think about TIA dead coin? Can you please see ZEG on the daily? What ZEG? I think I have seen this chart multiple times before. It just does nothing, man. I know what to say about this. Probably like, yeah, the only place I'd be interested in is if it just starts to break above here. Until then, it's just doing nothing for years now. When was this range started? Back in 24, early 24. So I'll probably just set alerts, buy if it breaks above. If doesn't, then not much interested. Did you say TI is a dead coin? Did you find that surprising? If if you did, then just quit crypto, to be honest, because if you don't find this chart dead, then I know what else is dead to you. Uh, Link. Link looks decent, to be honest, especially on higher time frames. Another one of ETH DeFi's after AVE that I think could benefit good from this ETH strength. It's approaching this weekly resistance. It's not somewhere I'd want to enter, but eventually, if Link flips above $19, that's 19 to 20 is a good psychological area on it as well. But any flip above, and like I'll start building a position similar to AVE, like we did on AVE, like a low leverage where we can target like new local highs on it at least. So it looks decent, but approaching good weekly resistance. No, so not somewhere you'd want to enter, but if it breaks above $19, it could be a good area, good swing play. CRV turning to be the strongest DeFi for real. I haven't looked at CRV in a while. Not too bad. Similar to Link, I think this is not the area where you'd want to enter. You can see how multiple times we have rejected and bounced off this area, right? Exact same area where we rejected last time back in May. So once, but on the other hand, if it does start closing and showing strength above 84 cents, that's where you can start positioning if you are not in from lower. I asked Zerbro 3 times, bro. Probably missed it, man. No need to get mad. Zerbro. Eh, I tried this chart once, I think around here, chopped me out. It's just a weird dead coin, to be honest. I do think eventually it would scam at one at some stage. It is also a good looking daily flip, to be honest, but not too sure on this one. I'd say. Like, nah, I let it go. Not the price action. I am too confident on saying much. I agree. I agree with what you said that it's one of the coins that like you would keep on doing nothing for a very long time, and at one particular day, out of nowhere, it would print like a good percent candle, like it did few months back, right? This one on April. What is about Trump? I think it's getting unlocks right in next few days, so not something I like to touch. Yeah, you probably got like a small unlock rally. Cat lovers are strange to me. How you doing, Pocky? Man, I think cat lovers are nice people, no? Heavy Trump unlocks coming. They moved some coins to exchanges. Yeah, like I think the only reason you got this move was they just finding exit liquidity for their unlocks. Not much. You should be expecting. Doing good, brother. Enjoying the recent conditions. Looking to open swing long on Pepe, Fartcoin, CRV with low leverage on next pullback with exchange will be better Mexi or Bitkit. Only two options here in UK. I'm not too familiar with situation in UK and which exchanges you can use. Probably try asking from I think Tariq or Mouse or who else is in the UK zone. But yeah, about one thing I can be sure on is don't use Mexi, man. I think Bitkit is still a much reliable option. Still not chilling any exchange. I have no affiliation with any exchange to be honest, but um, Bitkit would still be a safer option than Mexi. Mexi is super shady. They'd like freeze your funds out of nowhere. I see few people using Blowfin. Try asking about it in like journal chat. There would be a lot of people there to help you out. But probably Blowfin and Bitkit much better options than Mexi. But just as a disclaimer, never put your entire crypto net worth on an exchange, right? Especially if it's a significant amount. Always just use what you want to trade in a month and just keep rest in a cold wallet or a ledger or something. Pepe looks really good, man. Looking good. XRP intraday area. We talked about XRP. Where's the XRP chart? Yeah, I like how it's flipping the range highs here. So when you zoom out on this chart, this is the range XRP has been in, where 1.8, 1.9 is your range lows, 2.9, 2.92 is your range highs. And after a few failed attempts, now seems like we are finally breaking above. Also, I like the structure. Like um, a lot. One thing I'd like to touch on is if you want to find some good bullish continuation structures, a lot of time they come in form of something like this, where you'd have a initial impulsive run, and then you'd have something like this, what I like to call like a vertical accumulation, and that's where you see another leg up, right? So I do like this structure where we are just forming these higher highs and higher lows, and I do think it could break higher. To be honest, similar to what I think what SPX did a few days back. This was instead like a lower high, lower low, whatever. But these consolidations are usually good for breakouts eventually. But XRP, you can try a position. I think it could be a bit aggressive one, considering majors. Some of the majors I find here at res, so not sure. But I've never had that much of luck trading XRP, to be honest. So not saying to, not going to say too much with conviction here. I'm still focusing on memes. I'd say this bonk rally is going to continue bringing more rotation into rest of the memes as well. What's the current 24-hour volumes on bonk? I know what's with the cough recently. It's probably because I started vaping again. Surprisingly, Bonk is still pulling out less volume than Pepe, Dodge, and Fartcoin. But that's on Bybit. Let's see on Binance. With the kind of rally it has been on, I would have thought it would be pulling the highest volume out of memes. Yeah, even on Binance, it's pulling up 1.34 billion 24-hour volume. Dodge has a higher, Pepe has even higher. Interesting. Which kind of makes me think that probably it even goes much higher, to be honest. Like I remember at its peak times when I think this was the price action, it was actually pulling volumes um equivalent to like Sol and ETH combined at that particular time when it got the CB listing. So overall, I do have a high conviction that it would be the first Sol meme with a Coinbase listing to be making new all-time highs this coming month. We have got this last move well. Now let's see if we could get like a good pullback to start buying again. Bonk running always reminds you of good days. I posted that a week back before BTC broke into new highs. I remember that the most of the times we have seen Bonk rally in the past is the time we had good days with alts, right? Whether it was back in like October, November 24 when you had this Bonk rally, or whether it was during the November, December 23 and Jan 24 alts rally, right? Every time Bonk led first and then you got some good times ahead, similar to what's happening right now. Bonk leading is always a good memory. I think we have another stream scheduled right now, right? Let me see. Yeah. So the JDrip is streaming in like 5 minutes. So I'll wrap it up here. Um, in summary, BTC is still struggling below 120k area, something you need to watch for. But to be honest, I'm not been too focused on BTC past few days. Money is to be made elsewhere. There are things running hot every single day. We keep on catching those breakouts, those reclaims, and especially with the seed strength, there is a lot of things that would be running further in coming days that need to be focused on instead of being too much focused on BTC. The only area where I'd be interested on Bitcoin is at either of these two sweeps that we talked about, but not setting limits, just setting alerts and see how things react. Or a 120k flip, right? 120k flip is what I believe would be sending us into new all-time highs, and that would be again more bullish on the rest of the market as well. If we keep on struggling, then there is also another possibility I see where we just fill in the daily imbalance below, sweep these lows into 115, 114, and that's where we can V-shape reversal back into a lot of alt strong runners. Again, will continue my conviction on ETH. We have been holding this swing without any TP since 2900s, and I'll still continue focusing on that. The first TP that I take on the swing is around around 3450 till 3500. These highs on the left. Once these get taken out, we'll TP like 30 to 40% of our position and let remaining run for 4000 move. Pepe, I will continue holding. I think we get some rotation from Bonk into Pepe, and also considering ETH strength, I think Pepe continues running for a while. And what other positions do we have? LDO looks decent. Has been lagging compared to the ETH run, but I'll hold the spot pies on my challenge. For a run into like 1.17 for like a good 20-30% rally. Um, And yeah, what other play did I call out today? ENS, another one that's been holding strong. We bought some spot. It's like 5% up from our spot entry. Um, I think it's another one of the ETH coins that could benefit a lot if ETH continues showing strength in coming days. So that's pretty much it from my side. We talked about a lot of charts today, to be honest. So yeah, good stream. Hope people had a good time. Talk to people soon. If I find anything more interesting, as always, will post in my corner. Till then, have a good time. Stay safe. Take care. Allah Hafiz.